And adding on to last week's topic, when I look at my investment strategy, I tend to use different universal patterns. So, with that, let me elaborate. The universe, as we know it, is chaotic. It's a beautiful chaos, but it is chaotic. And within that chaos, you would observe that universe form these different systems, and those systems exhibit their own patterns. The formation, the transformation of different matters within universe has its own pattern, and I'm referring to some of those universal patterns or universal effect, which you can, apply into different areas of your life. One of those universal pattern is fractals. And we do see fractals in our everyday life. Like trees is the best example, right? It has this core stem and then individual branches which are extension of that stem. And within those individual branches, you would see, more smaller branches or nodes popping up and then leaves themselves. And on similar line, you could see the same concept applicable to, say, evolutionary tree, right? I mean, evolutionary tree is very similar to like family tree. I mean, if you look at it, like your family tree is just a tiny slice of the evolutionary tree, and that also means that evolutionary tree is acting like a fractal. So evolutionary tree is a fractal, and the life flows from parents to their next generation, to their children. And on similar line, the monetary system is fractal, where the transactions are act like branches, and the flow of money flows from one person to the another. And you could apply different principles on how your money can flow, right? And especially when it comes down to investments, I tend to look at three core rules. The first rule is to maximize the inflow. The second rule is to um, invest into the long term rewards, I would say. And the third rule is to minimize the outflow expenses. So basically, whenever I try to create a system, an investment system, I try to use these three rules to automate that system, because then I don't have to worry about making changes to that system or revisiting it like every, I don't know, month or so. I can just let it be, let it grow over time, and let it grow with compounding effect. So that's the other pattern which is very common in the universe. Almost everything in life compounds. Whether you talk about monetary systems like money, of course, or different assets, the value of different assets, or you talk about different aspects of life, such as, say, reputation. And the compounding effect is true on both ends. So it's applicable for the positive side as well as for the negative side. So, in terms of, say, investments, and if you keep on growing your investment, say, piece by piece, then there would be a time, sometimes in the future, where your investment will exponentially grow. And on the opposite side, it's also true. For instance, if you've been like building reputation for really long time, and if you gained reputation which you deserve, but for some malicious reason, people start to badmouth you, and then your reputation sort of start falling, and it falls exponentially too. So going back to my investments, my strategy is to automate with the three rules which I said earlier, and then use the compounding effect to let it grow over time. and that way I could get the maximum rewards from that process. For instance, I invest into stocks with good dividends, and that means whenever they reward me with the dividend, I'm maximizing my inflow of money, and then I use that dividend to reinvest into the same stock. So I'm growing my portfolio over time. So just investing into things which will give rewards in the future. And by automating this entire process, I'm cutting down on the expenses such as fees, admin fees, or some other unwarranted expenses. So I'm minimizing my outflow of cash. So that's why I feel that we are living in this amazing timeline where we have so many exchanges, so many AI based tools which you can set and forget it basically, and let it grow over time. And you could do that for free of cost. So you're saving in the fees which plenty of people in older or previous generations end up paying. So we are in such a amazing technological age that we can cut down on some of these basic automated investments. And one other principle which I follow for my investments is diversity. I mean, if you think about it, nature is beautiful because it is diverse. And that would be true for your diversified investments when you would see the beautiful rewards. My main goal is to use some of these universal patterns and apply these into the fractals of these, monetary investments, and then just observe the compounding effect. And to be honestly, just sit back like a farmer, just watching my seed investments sprout and grow into money tree.